What you allow tells other people that you will accept. What do I mean? Well, there's some things that we just let slide. And I'm speaking specifically to a group. So again, there are some people might get mad that we're isolating a group, but hey, let's be honest. There are some things in this world that are aimed specifically, that are targeted specifically, and that is allocated specifically to certain groups. Okay? So let's not fool ourselves to think that it's always one big blanket for everyone. It's not. For instance, Father's Day is for fathers, Mother's Day is for mothers. The two shall never meet, regardless of what people want to tell you about birthing people. See what I mean? Everything has an isolative point to it. So we're going to try and isolate something for the black community. I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to point some stuff out to you and hopefully people will listen. We have become a culture so inundated with certain terms and phrases and words towards each other that somehow others have been allowed to, whether by proxy, whether without permission, but they've seen very comfortable with it because we've become comfortable with it. We've kind of given them the license without having them sign a contract. From movies to commercials to actors, songs, billboards, fighters. You know who I'm talking about? Let's make this very specific. We'll give you a nice specific example. Everybody knows, at least I would think the majority of people know who Ryan Garcia is. Okay. Now, you can think what you want about his skills and you can think about what you want about his personality, but what he says matters. And you can only go by what he says. I mean, many people can interpret and they can say, well, he didn't, and you can do all that. But for us, if you say it, we can only assume you mean it. And we can only assume that it's coming from a part of you that you genuinely own up to. Well, what he said was kind of disconcerting, and I want people to explain to me how it is that no one's really given a whole lot of backlash to it. But if you want to hear it, take a gander.
No,
No,
I'm saying if I see
I'm talking about single.
I said both niggas, so we can both can say it. I'm a light skin. I'm from Africa, bro.
I can say it.
So from you,
Nigger,
you're born. When I see you, you get fight, bitch. Nah, look, bang.
Now, I understand that throughout the black community, we've kind of allowed certain terms to float around. And we have always told specifically white people, you can't say that word and you can't say that word. But how is it that we've allowed it to still go out there by other people we deem passable? We give you a pass. You realize that if you give one a pass, that pass might start to extend into other things. And before too long, it's out of your control. It's fully now out there and any and everybody. Now you're taking offense to something that you allowed. It could have easily been stopped, nipped in the bud, if you had just said, that's off limits for everyone, because what I allow, everyone else is going to take license to. It'd be no different than if I walked into the school with my kid, dropped off my kid and just backhanded him in front of the teacher and said, shut up in class or else, and you walk off. And I do this every day. And then one day I walk up to the school and I'm about to backhand you, and the principal comes over and says, you know what, we got this. Pow! Backhands your kid. You can't get mad. You know why? You have told that principal, this is how my kid responds. You've now given license by the things you allow to other people. You may not want it to be a license, but you also don't control what people think once you've done something. Once you've said something, once you've allowed for something. The accommodations you give is the license for everyone else to use. Unfortunately, the culture that we call black culture has allowed way too much leeway for everyone else because we are making our own, what you would call it, identity in it. It's in our songs. It's in our movies. It's in every aspect of life, these particular words. And then we want to put a license on it for everybody else to not, while asking them to purchase and promote that particular thing. What happens if when they're trying to buy and promote it, they get so accustomed to it that they use it? Why are you getting mad at them using it? You allowed it. The only option you got left is to revoke the use of it altogether. Stop using it, period. because the use of it is destructive to you. Set the example. Make it unusable to everyone because, like I said, what you allow is what you give license to everyone else for. While you may not like the sentiment, you may not agree with it, it is exactly what has happened. People like Ryan, as damaged as he might be, has felt comfortable enough to assume that particular thing. It may not be the same way you're using it, but you have allowed it to happen because you've allowed it to enter the space. We've become a society where nobody really wants to put the foot down about anything. Not even in disciplining your child. They don't want to put your foot down about everybody must float. Walk on eggshells. Don't break any walls. Don't open any doors that you're not allowed to. We will become a society where everything is allowed because nobody wants to stop anything. You know what happens in the interim? People get wounded. Lives get destroyed. Minds get fried. And lines get blurred. And then by the time you get around to trying to draw a new line, too late. It's gone. It's no longer there. This tirade, that I guess that's what you'd call it, that a broken man named Ryan went on, as much as he says he doesn't want to apologize and all that stuff, there is a portion of him that's saying that in order to be accepted. But there's also a portion of him that's saying that thinking he will be accepted. That's the crazy part of it. Because in his mind, because of us, I'm sorry to say, he's doing exactly what he thinks we would like. He's participating. And in that participation is where the problem lies. Good for the goose, good for the gander. You say that, and then they say, well, okay. And then you say, well, what's good for the goose may not always be good for the gander. But how do we make the differentiation? You told me to buy the stuff that the goose has while I'm being a gander, but you don't want me to use it? Exactly. Well, that's not really fair. I just won't buy it. Well, you hate me. What? No, I want to be able to join in. Well, you can't. Then I won't join in. Too much indecision makes for separation. Pick one. Either it's bad or it's good. And if it's bad, then everyone should view it that way. If it's good, then let it be good. But to be this indecisive is dangerous to not just you, but the people who you say you're trying to include. Even with God, he says, choose you this day whom you're going to serve, right? Well, maybe, just maybe, we ought to finally draw some things in the sand where we say, this is done because this is too much of a problem for everyone. And until it becomes not a problem, it should be non-existent.